And now, straight from the horse's mouth, our Neil Young News Report.
Smell the horse on this one.
With this week's update from ThrashersWheat.org, here's Thrasher.
Hey, Thrasher here. This week's Neil Young News. And boy, we have got lots and lots of wheat to harvest here, so why don't we just get right to it? I think as everybody knows, the 2012 Alchemy Tour Neil Young Crazy Horse continues to gallop across North America. This week we had the Megalopolis leg stretching from Boston to New York City, down to Philadelphia, and the Washington, D.C., Fairfax, Virginia area. So the horse has had quite a run this week, and we've got a lot of amazing Neil stories. And I know we sound a little hoarse here, but we have been on the rail, and we have been quite vocal in our appreciation, so we might sound a little hoarse. So apologies, but it is because of the horse that we are hoarse. And yes, the pun wasn't intended. Like I said, we probably not going to be able to cover everything. Naturally, we never do it each week, but just kind of hit on a couple of highlights of what has taken place over the past week. Personally, we've been on the road here, and we just rolled back into town. We just caught the Philadelphia show and the Fairfax, Virginia shows, and this was our fourth and fifth Crazy Horse concert this fall. So we've had quite a run, and we feel so honored and privileged and joyous to be able to do that, and we're really thrilled to be able to bring these stories to everybody out there who's listening and reading the blog, and this is kind of what it's all about. When Neil hits the road, you know what's going on. So getting right to it, I guess we're just at the top. You know, we had last night. We just rolled in from the Fairfax show, and if you've been following the blog, you may be familiar with the story about Arkansas Girls Love Crazy Horse. If you're not familiar with that story, it's posted on Thrashers Wheat maybe a week or so ago, and let's just say that we'll get to the details at a later point, but the headline out of this is about last night in Fairfax. We have confirmation not only that the Arkansas Girls love Crazy Horse, but that Crazy Horse and Neil love the Arkansas Girls. Okay, moving on. Epic performances continue, which is just the highlights that we saw. We'll mention in Philadelphia the Like a Hurricane performance. Clearly, we saw things, we heard things that no one has seen or heard before, at least as far as we've been able to tell. We'll just briefly set the stage of the song, the descending keyboard, Poncho driving the keyboard across the stage like a drunk driver in the best sense of the word, just with passion on the keys. We'll also say over on stage left with Poncho driving the keyboard, the flying keyboard for the Hurricane finale with the lights and the strobes, and at the same time over to the right of the stage we have Neil shredding the strings for Old Black, and as we've seen sometimes before, taking the strings and hitting the pickups of the guitar and just creating a visual and sonic, just formal symphony of just craziness and goodness. And the third component that was going on simultaneously, which is really what we haven't seen before, was Billy Talbot on bass. Billy Talbot has laid his bass on the stage. He is, with his foot, he's stomping on his bass and twiddling the knobs. At the same time, Ralph Molina above of him flailing away on the drum kit. We were on the rail right there, and we did not know where to look. Did we look at Poncho swerving around with the keyboard? Do we look at Neil with the strings of Old Black flying around? Do we look at Billy? What is Billy doing? It just, again, I don't think words or videos or tapes, or anything would ever really, capture what took place. Again, we've seen a lot of like a Hurricane performances. We've seen Crazy Horse in the 70s. We've seen Crazy Horse in the 80s. We've seen Crazy Horse in the 90s. We've seen Crazy Horse in the zeros. And now again in the latest decades, across 4 decades. And again, just incredible things. So, if you haven't seen the tour, you need to get out there. There's still some dates. Let's see, what else? I guess, the fucking up performances. Again, they're just, unbelievably hilarious. At one point, Poncho's getting the audience to say, you're just such a fuck up. And you see 10, 20,000 people in a crowd going like, you're just a fuck up. It's flipping off the band flipping off the audience. It's just, it's just quite a fun thing to participate in. Walk Like a Giant, continues to just blow minds. You're either able to have your mind blown by it, or, as we've heard, some people just don't get it, and they literally walk out and leave. What can you say? The Horse, it's somewhat of an acquired taste, we suppose. Let's see here. I guess that's probably all we're going to talk about here from the tour. We'll say also that, of course, so many of our Rusty friends from around the world who travel to these shows. We saw good friends coming in from England, from the Young Appreciation Society, Paul and Scott, and folks from Wales and Europe, and of course all across the country. A lot of people came up from the South, Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, Virginia to see the Virginia show, because that was the most southern city. So it was great to see everybody. Always too short. It's always too short, but love everybody out there. Let's see. So the last thing is we'll just hit some news things. Neil was on the Tonight Show with the Daily Show with Jon Stewart, and he discussed his usual topics of the Pono sound. Discussed his book a little bit. They had some banter back and forth on that. We've got the YouTubes of that interview with Jon Stewart posted to our blog, and Neil did make some news during the Daily Show appearance. He announced that Crazy Horse, Neil and Crazy Horse, will be doing a benefit concert for the Hurricane Sandy victims. This will take place in Atlantic City next week. I believe that the date is December 6th, but I could possibly be wrong about that. I know I should probably be right about that. But you always check the blog to see whether that's the 6th or the 8th. I can't quite remember. But that's in some casino there in Atlantic City. So that's a new date. So if you hadn't managed to get to one and you're in the area, this would be another reason to see a show, because you can help out Hurricane Sandy folks, and that area is still recovering. So we'll just kind of wrap up on all of this, and let everybody know that we've got some of the reviews and the photos and so forth on the blog, thrashersweek.org. And if you want to hear the podcast, or you missed it, you can download it. The link for that is over there in the far right-hand sidebar on Thrashers Week. So, until next time, everyone should keep rocking in the free world. One last item that we forgot to mention a little bit earlier. The opening act that we saw for the last couple of shows in Philly and in Virginia was Patti Smith, the legendary Patti Smith. And great opening performance. Make sure you get there in time to see that. She does a Neil Young cover, Only a Dream, from Prairie Wind. And when we saw her last night, she did something that was kind of neat and special. She talked about Neil's guitar, Old Black, and she talked about it in loving and reverential terms. And she then proceeded to say that she was going to dedicate her next song in honor of Neil Young's guitar, and proceeded to play Power to the People in just the most, wonderful way that Patti Smith delivers that essential song from her catalog. So be sure to check out Patti Smith, great opening act for the tour. Okay, that's it for this week.
You're listening to the Thrashers Week Radio Hour, presented by WBKM.org, Burlington, Vermont.